we get rolling here. So do some vocal practices here, like how now, brown cow, unique New York, unique New York. The Human Torch acquired a bank loan today. The unicyclist put on a pair of pants. And the last one I gotta watch again. It had something to do with the porcupine picked a pickled pepper properly. So I don't know if you have any vocal practices that you've ever had to do before, but this would be a good time to let them rip.
Yeah, what was it? Unique New York, New York, unique New York, New York, unique. What else? That's the only thing I know.
Yeah, I just basically take everything from Anchorman, and I always ask guests if they have something, and we run with it. So I gotta shout out Jacob. He and Bob are the only two that we've had on, and this is our 30th episode of people that have actually had something to contribute to that. So cool. All right, well, let's do it. Welcome back, shooters, for a fantastic Team Handball Tuesday edition of Shootin' Straight Handball Podcast with JD and Joey. Joey is not yet here, but I am joined by our special guest this evening, Mark McNeill. Mark, how are we doing this evening?
Hey, doing well. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be on.
It's great to have you. You know, we've been running a bunch of, lacrosse hype and stuff like that. Joey and I both being lacrosse guys, and you coming from the PLL. We had Nick Acello on a few weeks back, and he had a good time on the pod, so we're hoping to do the same with you this evening. So why don't we do a little brief background before Joey gets on? Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, a little bit about me. My name is Mark McNeill from Annapolis, Maryland. Kind of been a big athlete. I played at Carolina. I played lacrosse and football there. I've spent a few years playing in the MLL, professional lacrosse, and the last 2 years playing in the PLL. So yeah, I would say I'm pretty big into athletics.
Yeah, I'd say a dual sport athlete at a D1 school. It's not easy to do. That's for sure. How was that? What was that like? Like, especially at a place like UNC. I know UNC football. I don't know when you were there, but UNC football right now is kind of on the rise. And lacrosse has always been, one of the better schools.
Yeah, it was a really cool and interesting experience. I think at the time it was a lot, but like looking back at it, it was I think it was just like a hell of an opportunity, and kind of if I had an opportunity to do it again, I would. So I would play lacrosse in the spring and football in the fall. So I never really had an off season, and kind of off seasons can be just kind of really intense and grueling. So yeah, I never got burned out. So I thought it was awesome. I really had the best of both worlds.
That's I think what everybody dreams of doing. I mean, like you did it, what intramural athletes do at an intramural level, you did it at the highest level you could do in college, which is pretty sweet. So, and you played wide receiver at UNC, is that correct?
Yep. I was a receiver. I was a walk-on on the football team.
What kind of, you got any touchdowns? You got any cool plays from the football side?
No touchdowns, but I did catch a couple. I caught a couple passes or a pass or so, and against South Carolina, it was I think it was like a pretty big game. I don't remember all the details, but that's something that kind of like one of the few catches that I had.
Okay. We'll have to have you talk with our own Ty Reed from the national team. He played football at Alabama, and he was, I think, like supposed to be a quarterback, and then he became a wide receiver. And I've always asked him like what his situation was, and I think he got in, and he's got like 2 catches for like 2 yards, I think. So I'm sure someone will correct me on that. But hey, stats are stats. He's got national championship rings, so that's all good there. So you've been in the PLL and played professional lacrosse for the last couple of years. What has that kind of journey been like for you, being from the Maryland area, a huge hotbed for lacrosse? Like, what have you seen going from all the different cities that you've played in? What the following is like from city to city?
Um, yeah, it's been a really interesting journey. My professional lacrosse career, being from Annapolis, everyone plays it. That's like the sport. That's a sport to play. So it was like, we had a football team, but it was lacrosse games in the spring that were the big event. But in the MLL, I played for the local team. I had a couple years. They were Chesapeake Bayhawks, and it's right in Annapolis, the Navy football stadium. Hey, what's going on? How we doing?
Sorry about that, Mark. How are you, man?
Good, good. How are you doing?
I'm good. Sorry about being tardy. I figured I'd be fashionably late for the most important podcast we've had so far. So don't mean to interrupt. Continue with what you were saying.
Oh, yeah. I started playing with the Chesapeake, and it was their home stadium is Annapolis. So, it's a big lacrosse town. The stands there were, there are a lot of fans there. It's pretty big time, pretty big deal, relatively speaking. Right. And then, I ended up playing for the Florida Launch. So, there was a lacrosse team, and, oh man, I think it was FAU. That's where we played.
Yep.
In Boca. But like no one was in the stands. There was like did not have the following. But kind of transitioning to the PLL, it's more tour based. So the different places that we do go, there have been, I would say, pretty good attendance, pretty good fan base there.
Sweet. Now we got Joey on. So let's catch Joey up to speed here. I just kind of did, Mark and I did a little brief intro. I asked him what it was like traveling around, what different cities were like with the PLL. But Joey, we haven't seen you in a while. What's been up with you?
You know what? This is like the peak of everything I've been doing so far. So I'm just happy to be here. Happy to be talking to the legendary Mark McNeill. And yeah, I'm just feeling good right now. I'm glad I'm glad I didn't miss the important question, which is what does PLL do that the MLL does not do? Like what's the difference between the two, and vice versa? What are the positives in?
Folks, you all know the drill here. Awkward silence means we've lost connection. And with that lost connection, we thank our viewers upstairs tuning in to watch TV. Okay, we're back. Sorry.
I'm sorry.
That's me. That's my internet. It's my internet. It's it's something that people tell me like, JD, like, you got a nice job. Why don't you have better internet? Well, where we live and streaming, it eats up a lot of bandwidth. My wife's trying to watch TV. Happy wife, happy life. We're gonna let her watch TV. We're gonna do the stream down here in the basement. Whoa, we lost Joey there for a second. That was new. Yeah, if you saw my basement right now, it looks like a little kid's fort. I got a bunch of bean bags like draped up for like soundproofing and stuff like that. But if you listen to audio, it's pretty much still the same. So, anyways, I digress. So, continue, Joey.
Mark, I just asked Mark what the pros and cons of the PLL compared to the MLL were, and he was just about to start. So,
beautiful.
Yeah, so I would say the biggest thing is that the PLL is it's tour based. So all 6 or 7 teams now will go to the same city. So for example, we all played in, say, Denver. We had a game in say Albany. Everyone goes and we play. Kind of like traveling circus, NASCAR, whatever you want to call it. And with the MLL, it's location based. Obviously, since I'm in the PLL now and the MLL does exist, I'm a little bit biased. But I like the new rules or the rule adjustments that the PLL has created. A little bit smaller of a field. The wings are a little bit closer. It's a little bit more like transition friendly, a little bit more up and down. So I've just been having a blast. The last 2 seasons playing with the PLL. So yeah, it's like kind of all smiles for me. They you like healthcare, and we're kind of and the players are kind of invested in the league as well. So it's a really interesting structure that they have. Kind of we the players.
Yeah,
that's awesome, man. That's awesome.
What, Mark?
It's cool.
Go ahead, Joey.
No, I just want to say it's like kind of cool seeing the dynamic that the PLL is bringing, and just like the energy and it just seems very cutting edge. So that's very exciting. And just having the MLL out there too, kind of pushing each other. It's I think good for the sport overall.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm a huge lacrosse fan myself, so like what they do with the PLL broadcast, it's so exciting. I watch it as a fan and I'm pumped.
That's always good, that's what we want, and then we're trying to bring that same hype to handball, so I think that's something that we can work on. One of the questions I wanted to ask Mark is, did you see, I think I saw it earlier today, about the World Lacrosse Organization trying to create a new set of rules to, potentially make a play for the Olympics with lacrosse? Did you see those new rules?
I saw it in passing, but I didn't actually read it. And what? Tell me, fill me in. What's going on?
So from what I gathered, it's going to be a 6-on-6 version, so kind of like indoor, with I think it was 70 meter by 34 meter field. So, a good bit shorter, good bit smaller, and then they were talking about having the same equipment for boys and girls, so it could be a co-ed version of the game. And goalies, there's only an initial face-off, but then goalies start with the ball after a goal, and they have 5 seconds to put it in play after it getting scored upon. So I was like, interesting. To me, that sounds like we're taking handball. We're going out to the field version of handball, where handball originally started out on the grass. Many people don't know that handball originally was played outdoors, 11v11 on a soccer goal, and like I think there's games that were all like single digit goals. I mean, they played with like a normal handball they play with now, but imagine throwing that into a soccer net, like, you can pretty much score from anywhere. But yeah, it was in the Olympics up until I think 36, and then they cut it out, and then it came back in 72 with the indoor version. So that's when things got nutso. And now we're trying to Mark. Go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question. I didn't, do all my research, but like, who invented handball? When was it invented? When did it join the Olympics?
You're asking a hot topic right there. That's a pretty controversial question.
Oh.
So, one of the things that I'm sure, if my Twitch stream's not working right now, because otherwise we'd have a lot of comments in the chat from our German friends. There's much debate about who invented handball between the Danes and the Germans. There was one guy, I forget his name every time.
Holger Nielsen.
I wanted to say Holger, but okay, Holger Nielsen. He was a gym teacher, basically, and he came up with handball and was playing it at his school, and then some other folks down the road in Germany, they were like, hey, like, we're gonna play this game too. And so they all kind of invented it at the same time in the late 1800s. And then that's kind of how it started. Again, it was outdoors, and then I don't know how we moved. I guess we just naturally moved inside in the winter months because it's cold in Northern Europe. But yeah, that's kind of that. Now we got beach handball. I mean, have you seen any beach handball, Mark? Because that's probably
I have.
You could probably get. And I don't know if you talked to Ebier, because man, like, you could definitely make a splash on that scene. That's for sure. And they're making a push for that for the Paris games.
Oh, hey, you guys are the connects. So, hey,
Yeah.
who do I need to talk to?
Hey, Mark, all you need to do is just get us both in the PLL, and we'll get you in the Olympics.
It's a simple trade. It's a simple trade. Oh, man.
Hey, it sounds like a deal to me.
Yeah, talk to Paul. See what you can coordinate.
Yeah. Have our people talk to your people. No, but Mark, how did handball get on your radar?
Oh, so Duncan reached out and kind of just, I've never really heard of handball. I've heard of it, but I've never really played it. I think we may have played it in gym class, and but he reached out and was like, hey, like, kind of gave me the whole spiel about it. What he kind of like trying to do, and I sent me a couple YouTube videos and a couple articles, and I started watching. It was just it's really fun, fast paced, and like exciting to watch. And I feel like it's one of those games, I guess, as everyone probably says, that like, why isn't it big here?
Yep.
Like, why isn't it
for sure.
And yeah, so like I ordered myself a ball, looked up some YouTube drills, and I just started kind of throwing the ball around. So that's really kind of my my introduction into handball.
Fair enough. And this is just so random, but like, who's Duncan? I'm sorry, I'm just curious.
Oh yeah. Duncan Sweezy. Am I saying his last name correct?
It sounds familiar.
I don't know if it's Swayze.
JD, Duncan.
Yep.
Swayze.
Joey knows of Duncan. He just didn't know which. I don't know more than one.
Donuts or Duncan? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's cool.
Yeah. So Duncan reached out. I think Nick reached out to Nick and some other lacrosse guys as well. But yeah, so yeah, he was telling me about his experience doing it, and so it got me fired up.
Hell yeah!
And
shout out to Duncan for getting handball on the radar. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, he's a man. Thanks, because it's really fun to watch. It's kind of exciting. Yeah,
for sure. How do you feel as a lacrosse player? What skills do you think will transfer well on the handball court, just based on what you've seen?
I think defense, definitely. I play a lot of defense lacrosse, D-midi. So, you got to stay in front of them, kind of similar to basketball. I think that's a real kind of, I think that would translate pretty well. And then, it seems kind of like an up and down game. Lacrosse up and down. So like, kind of good conditioning, I feel like would kind of benefit or translate.
For sure. Yeah. So are you thinking like making a run for the Olympic team right now? Or are you thinking retiring from lacrosse and playing some handball? What's your plan so far? Or just playing it for fun?
I would love to play competitive handball. Again, I've never played competitively, but I would love to give that a go, give it a try. I'm always down. I'm always down for something competitive. You know what I mean? I'm a competitor. So yeah.
That's what we like to hear. And I think, like I said, Mark put together a little highlight tape of him throwing the handball around, and I sent it around to some folks and liked what they saw. We got some tweaks we need to make before we start sending it out to clubs overseas, but it's definitely promising, and I think that's something we need to keep building on, is getting more folks like you that are top tier athletes just having the conversation like, why not? We talked to Nick a little bit, as well as one of the guys earlier on in our podcast who played indoor football, about the opportunity, should it present itself, that in the off season you go play professional handball at a minor league level, basically. Would that be of interest? And I think you do quite a bit of travel internationally, Mark, and like, I don't know if you'd be down to spend couple of 3-4 months in Germany or Denmark or Spain or France or something like that. I don't know if you speak any other languages.
Oh, that's right up my alley. I've always wanted to learn French.
Perfect.
Trial by fire right there. So yeah. I mean, that's something that one of those things that Joey played with a club in Denmark. Just did it. Just took it up, moved over there, spent 6 months. Played with the club, and
it was sick.
Lived a high life. Now you can tell everybody he was a professional athlete. So,
how was that? Like, how'd you get involved?
It was unreal. It was so cool. Well, like, similar story, I guess, not the exact same story, but I saw handball in the Olympics in 2012, and I played like lacrosse growing up. And I played at a small school. I played at Division I +2 school in West Michigan called Hope College. You might have heard of it. I don't know. Maybe not. So I just thought skills translated well. I really liked it. And yeah, just ended up playing overseas, and it was cool. Would highly recommend it, Mark.
Oh shucks! Given the opportunity, I don't know if I could say no.
Ooh,
All right,
watch
all
out, Mr.
right.
Abel. We're gonna be poaching your players here for handball. That's awesome, man.
Raking them in.
So this is Mark. This is like a super tangent right now, but you played football at UNC, correct?
Yes, I did. I did.
Did you play with the Barstool guy while he was there?
Yeah, Caleb. Yep, I did play with Caleb. Caleb, I think was 2 years younger than myself.
What was that like?
He's such a funny, like, down to earth, interesting guy. Yeah, I'm like, and the thing is, I'm not surprised by, his success, like what he's doing now. Yeah, he would always, even in college, like give like kind of fun, very funny interviews to like the players and stuff. So like, I don't know, to me, he's like right at home. Yeah, I'm happy for him.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, that was just a little fun tidbit I looked up about you. And then, did you ever play in the Motor City Bowl for UNC, or no? Was that after your time?
Motor City, where is that?
The Detroit.
No, I never. Wait, did I? No, I don't think I played in that.
It might.
What year?
I think it was either 2015 or 2014, one of those two.
Oh, if it was 14, I don't. No.
Bummer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, just missed it.
Rats. That was my only UNC football game I've ever attended. So that would have been crazy if I had.
Who'd they play? How was it?
Oh, shoot. I wish I could tell you. I think they played like Bowling Green or something.
Okay.
I think they won. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. It was just a good time overall.
Now, Joey, you went to
JD,
UNC. You went to UNC this weekend, right?
Oh, I did, in fact. Yeah, no, beautiful campus, man. Good for you. That was awesome.
Yeah, what were you there for?
Mark single-handedly built that campus. So.
The house that Mark McNeill built.
I got my Miles Bacon shirt on though, Mark. I don't know if you can see this, man. But it's my handball college nationals from UNC. So it's got the little rotunda, little guy, little handball business. So I did not wear that on purpose today. This is just total coincidence. So it's good.
Meant to be. Yeah, I was down there. My 12-year-old brother, who's a better lacrosse player than I'll ever be, had a tournament. So he like really wanted to go see the field, and so we went.
Nice. Yeah, it's been a bit since I've been down there. That's awesome.
Oh yeah.
Now, did little bro ball out or what?
Oh my God, dude. I don't want to brag on my 12-year-old, but he's a stud. Francisco Williams. Remember that name?
Francisco
Williams. Right now. If you're still in the PLL in about 8 years, I think he might be either your teammate or competitor. Dude's a stud.
Love it.
Mark, where are you based out of right now?
Annapolis. Yep, Annapolis, Maryland. Yeah, so like 30 from Baltimore, 30 from DC. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a good spot. It's a very cool town as well. I like it. It's pretty historical. They got the Naval Academy there.
Yeah. Now, and you all are both in Detroit?
I'm in Detroit. JD's in Columbus, Ohio.
Yep.
The fairest of the Midwest.
Yep.
Okay.
So.
And you got born and raised?
Both of us,
yep.
Born and raised in respective towns here. So, which is where I was going to ask you, one of your teammates, Dominique Alexander, he coaches lacrosse here in Columbus, and as a fellow Buckeye, as myself, I'm pretty sure I played club at OSU, and I'm pretty sure he came to a practice, and I took a shot from him right to the face. So that's my claim to fame. So, I didn't go back to club practice after that because my helmet was broken, but it's, I'll run with that. So
single-handedly ended the lacrosse career.
Yeah. I think
Dom is such a character.
Me trying to make like a high kick save with a lacrosse ball, not the same. You can't. The transition from like lacrosse goalie to handball goalie is fine. Handball goalie, lacrosse goalie, no, that ain't gonna fly. Oh my God.
Oh, I didn't know you were a handball goalie.
Yeah, both of us. We're both handball goalies. So.
Both of you. Yeah. Oh wow. How is that? I feel like that's tell me about that.
It sucks sometimes.
It beat running. Yeah. JD, why don't you go ahead?
I was just gonna say, it definitely. I started playing lacrosse goalie in middle school because I'd played baseball, and so running really wasn't part of the sport. And so like I'd never ran before, and the coach like had me start out at midi. I was like a heavier kid. I wasn't like fat kid, but well, I was kind of fat. But either way, like I couldn't run, like to the point where they thought I had asthma. I was just like, I was just out of shape. I just couldn't run. So he's like, why don't you just like, you want to play goalie? You could just sit back here. I won't make you run. I was like, yes, sir. And yeah, I got pretty good at goalie, and then I wanted to run around, but I was too good at goalie and not good enough everywhere else, so they didn't let me leave. So I kind of got that crazy goalie mentality. You know, I was a big fan of Scotty Rogers growing up, so the big rig.
Mm-hmm.
But
Big rig.
yeah, so it's kind of crazy. And then, you know, obviously, like when we started playing handball, my coach was like, who here has any goalie experience in any sport? And it was just me. He's like, well, looks like you're our goalie then. I was like, but I don't want to play goalie anymore, man. But it's not bad. Like, I think goalie in handball is tough. You know, it's one of those things that people don't understand. Like, you know, hockey, lacrosse, soccer, like anytime you give up a goal, you know, it's a big deal, you know, because every goal really makes a huge difference because there's not that many. Lacrosse, like you can get over it quicker because it's pretty quick to score, but like handball, you're letting in pretty much every shot, and like you might save a couple here and there, so you just gotta like mentally say like, yeah, I suck, that's cool, like just let them in, we'll keep playing the game, and you gotta have great mental
super low
toughness.
pressure. It's great.
Yeah, exactly.
So what's like a typical goalie save percentage in handball?
A really good goalie in Europe's like 30.
Consistently though, and honestly too, it's like you can see like the best goalie in the world might have a game where he's like 20%, and like that's just like normal. But like insane, like if a goalie gets 50%, they're like they had an unreal game. But like that's not normal consistently. If that makes sense. Have you done a little research on the positions? Do you know which position you would want to play?
This sounds horrible, but I haven't done the research on the positions.
Hey, dude, you and like half the handball community in the U.S. So don't worry, man. You're in good company.
Yeah, you're fine. You're fine. So you're 6'4", right? I mean, you're tall. He's 6'4", Joey. Yeah. So I mean, I'm feeling. And you're left-handed or right-handed? Right-handed.
Right-handed.
Yeah. So I mean, he's left back material right there.
I throw a little bit of lefty.
Yeah, I saw on your tape. Like, he's an EBA. He's a future EBA right there. A taller EBA. Ooh. So Mark, EBA is
more handsome.
Yeah. EBA is like the beach god of handball. He pretty much like runs everything USA beach handball. He was on the indoor team and then got cut and got into beach and just pretty much has been like one of the top players in the world kind of thing. Like everybody knows EBA. So after this episode, I'll connect you guys because he'd be a good person to talk with. Because their player pool for beach is like ridiculously small on the men's side. I mean, I think it's like
two guys, and that's a stretch.
I think just because nobody knows it exists, you know. And then there's no like, they do all their training in Southern California, so it's like they just get a bunch of SoCal guys to go out there and basically beat the team. So that's it. I mean, there's not a lot to it. And the ball's smaller. It's easier to catch. It's all on sand, obviously. You get 2 points for alley-oops, 2 points for 360s. Anything that's spectacular. So
pretty cool.
Yeah. So
what about between the legs?
I think that's I think
that. It's referee discretion on what's spectacular, but I'd probably call that spectacular. At this point in the show, I'd like to apologize to all our Twitch viewers. I'm having an issue with our streaming capabilities, so I don't think that's working. So people who have to go back and listen on Spotify or watch on YouTube if I can't get the Twitch to work here. But I'll keep fighting the good fight. So Mark, one of the questions I wanted to ask was, what do you think it would take for us to, I know you don't know that much about handball situation in America, but you know that lacrosse has grown a lot probably in your lifetime. What do you think it would take to grow handball at a similar level?
I think the biggest thing is just letting people know. People don't even know it's a thing, and that's horrible because it's actually like really exciting to watch. I think that's the biggest thing. I feel like once people start like watching and paying attention to it, they love it. It's high scoring. It's pretty like action packed, and I believe in like middle school and high school, like, everyone plays it. Right. But it's like kind of like forgotten about,
it's like not even a real thing when they learn it. It's like gym class, and then you forget it. It's like, oh, that was made up in gym class, but it's a legit thing. Yeah.
And like, this may sound really like, I guess, biased, but like, it's one of those sports. If someone told me it was invented by American, like I would believe it. I believe it. I feel like we would,
Well, I was
should be good.
Actually lying earlier about the Denmark thing. I actually invented it, Mark. So
Joseph P. Williams, founder of handball in America.
That'll be on my tombstone.
No, I hope I didn't offend anyone by saying.
No. That's not a bad idea. Like, I can tell people that whatever we want with handball because nobody knows anything about it. So that's something to your point that, I don't know, maybe that's not a bad sales tactic to try to tell kids that, like, hey, handball, it's one of America's pastimes that you never knew about. And then be like, wait, what? You're telling me that America has played this? And it wasn't just a gym class game? I don't know. I might try that with some kids, Well, the kids aren't going to know. They don't even look it up on the internet anymore. But Mark, hey, if they look it up on the internet, that means that they're actually like caring enough to look it up. So that's a win in our book, in my opinion.
Yeah, big time. Mark, as a kid, how did you get into lacrosse?
Being in Annapolis. So it's just like geographics. Like, everyone around here plays lacrosse. It's just like I was good at it, so I kind of like stuck with it. It's kind of one of those things. I guess it originally started. I'm like the youngest of my cousins, but they needed like an extra person to play, and I'm like, okay, like fine, you can play. And so that's like the first time I played. I was like pretty young.
How old were you? Just like
4. He was 4. Oh, dang it, we lost him. Yeah, I'm gonna say he was 4 years old because here in Columbus, in the lacrosse suburbs that are hotbeds, those kids are born with lacrosse sticks. I can't tell if we're back or not. Oh, we're back. We're sort of back. This dang internet, man. I'm telling you, it's one of those things that I probably should just like, really, it gets on my nerves. Like, I feel like we didn't have these problems when we first started the show. I don't know. Maybe it's the temperature. Maybe the cold temperatures.
Is it my internet?
No, it's me. It happens.
I think it's every time I talk, it might be it. I think it's my fault. It's like capturing my voice and like shutting off the internet for some reason. It's back now though, JD.
Yeah, it's back. Yeah, it's not you, Mark. This is just me. It happens all the time. But,
JD, I just asked Mark if he wasn't a professional lacrosse player or athlete, what would he be?
And
well, I mean, shucks, I used to work in mortgages.
Okay. All right. That's not a bad business to be in, really.
Maybe,
like, seriously.
That's it. You said what?
It's not a bad business to be in, man. My cousin, he's a mortgage broker. Like, you can help people get nice interest rates. People always need a nice house. So, like, you get 1%, man. It's easy money. I like to think so.
The more exciting, like me, I guess part of me was like, I don't know, maybe I would have been like some, like, I don't know, like travel blog or some stuff. I don't know.
I got you.
Yeah. I don't know, something seeing the world or something. Yeah, I can dream.
You can hey, you still got time.
Yeah.
You still got time. You're a young man. Your life ahead of you.
Yeah, exactly.
So what do you think is the future of lacrosse with the PLL just in general? Where do you think it's going? And then why do you think handball is just going to absolutely blow it out of the water in a few years as far as the growth goes?
I think okay. I think yeah, the PLL is like, lacrosse of the future. It's so exciting. It's so fast paced. I think the whole traveling and like going to whole different markets and things, I think that helps spread the game. I just see it. I see the game. I guess people have been saying this for years, but I see it like being like eventually like being a major like college sport, like where the Final Four in lacrosse like a big deal. That's always been like my favorite sporting event. And you know what? Yeah, hey, handball has the advantage over lacrosse. Like every high school or middle schooler plays handball, right? A lot of people see a lacrosse stick and they're like, what am I raking leaves or something?
Going jellyfish hunting. That's what I always
Butterfly. Yeah.
It's like, God bless goalie
Yeah,
stick,
so, hey,
man.
that's where handball's got the advantage.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that like people always say, oh, the barrier entry handball. The cost is physically lower than lacrosse, I think. But to your point, yeah, big time. And I think your point earlier though is that lacrosse has the benefit of exposure. Like kids in America can see like I can go play lacrosse in college. I can go play professional lacrosse. Like I could do something with lacrosse. Like kids in America don't see anything with handball. Like sure, a freaking ball's $20 and that's all they really need. But if they don't have any reason to play and they don't see that they can go anywhere, then they'll never get into it. So that's what we got to figure out how to bridge that gap. To your point, like get all those kids that are already playing and get them playing at a higher level or something like, or organize themselves. I went out to a high school last week, rural high school in Ohio, and the guy on Twitter he basically said they were playing handball, and I was like, hey, why don't you have the Ohio State handball team come out? And he's like, okay, we'll do it. And I was like, dang, all right. So we drove out there, and they had the principal come out and meet us. They had the local TV come out there. They're like, we have the Ohio State handball team here, and they're here to teach us a thing or two about handball. And they like interviewed me, and they're like, we heard you guys are going to go to the state championships. And I was like, if you meant world championships, yes. I don't know about state championships, but it's one of those things that like you just gotta get in touch with the right people, because like they got super pumped about it, like, and I gotta follow up with them to make sure that they continue to get involved with handball. But it's like the kids obviously like this, the teachers and staff were pretty excited. But the problem is the kids there, like if they're on a varsity team, they don't have to do gym class. So these were like all the like kids that hate sports. So it was a little bit of pulling teeth at 7 a.m. to get a kid who didn't want to be there and didn't want to be awake to, jump around and throw a ball. So
now, what country, like where the best handballers usually come from? Like who usually wins, I guess, the national or the international games?
That's again another very like hotly.
We lost Mark there, but I'm gonna go ahead
because
I'm gonna answer that if Joey doesn't return here. But to Joey's point, it is a highly debated topic right now. Team to beat is probably Spain. As much as I just can't digest that, I don't know why it's Spain. It's very frustrating that it's Spain. I don't think that Spain. Oh, geez, Louise. Come on, internet. Oh, no. Yeah, the internet, bad. All right, you're back, internet. But yeah, Spain's probably one of the top teams. You got Norway. Croatia's making a strong push.
They've got a solid professional team. But honestly, like pretty much anywhere in Europe is like into handball to some degree. Some places like Scandinavia, for instance, Norway, Sweden, it goes like soccer and then handball and then like hockey or something. And then Germany, same thing, soccer and then handball. So it's big all over the place except here. So
yeah, we got to catch up.
For real, man.
Yeah.
Like Denmark's got 6 million people, and like the U.S. has like 330 million people, and Denmark just like kicks everyone's ass. Oh, excuse me.
What makes them so good? Like they just, what makes Do they play a different style than say German or French, or is it just they just commit more resources to it? Like,
Well, it's exactly what you said with playing lacrosse. Like the kids start playing at like 4 or 5 years old, and they just they grow up playing it, and so they're just the nuances of the game. Like again, it's very, very similar to lacrosse in a lot of regards because hey Dad. Sorry, this is my dad.
Dr. Williams in the house.
Hey, JD.
Hey, how's it going?
But basically, they just start playing and like they develop their own style, and it's just a lifelong sport for a lot of those people.
Okay.
And Mark, to your point, I mean, like it's just something that they're not better athletes than us, and it's very tough for me to, I look at some of these guys, and that's where people that tune in and watch European handball, they're like, how is that guy the best guy in the world? Like that guy he does not look athletic at all, but yet he's the best handball player because they kind of just groom themselves into being handball specific athletes from birth, and that's just their thing, and they get very good at it, and they get very technical with it. And I think that, once the U.S. comes into play, they're gonna get scared. I think people will be scared, which is where I want America to be scared. Because Mark, in my opinion, and you do whatever you want with this, but I think you, Nick, Duncan, some of these other PLL guys, you guys just put together your own handball team and just start competing in American tournaments and just win them, to the point where people have to recognize you guys are the dominant breed. And I think the other aspect is that it's still kind of debated right now, but the U.S. Is given a spot at the Super Globes, which is like a international club tournament. And so the winner of that tournament gets a free trip to Qatar or UAE. I can't remember where it is exactly, but you get a full expense paid trip for the tournament out there. So it's the best team from every league in the world in one place. And so somehow the North American leagues got swooped up into that. So New York City, they won that tournament last year, so they got a trip out there, and they lost all their games, got completely slaughtered. But it's something that they talked about how we gotta move away from that, because that's not really doing much to actually grow the sport here in the U.S. Like, you, born and raised in the U.S., a lot of the club teams in the U.S. are comprised of dual citizens, or not even dual. There's people that are immigrants in general that played handball overseas, and that now they want to play handball in America, and they're just looking to play with their friends and meet new people that live in the U.S. that played handball. So there's not a lot of like melting. There's a melting pot of other handball people. There's not a melting pot of handball people with non-handball people. And so we're trying, like Joey and I are kind of like the outliers, because we're like, we have no handball in our blood. We're just two dudes that got into handball. So we're just trying to find more dudes who want to get into handball, and ladies. We're not sexist here. So dudes and ladies.
So, I think that's awesome. Like, kind of like you mentioned, like, lacrosse and handball, they're both small sports and not many people have heard of. Shucks, it's grown both. They're both exciting.
Yes, exactly.
I might have to talk.
Oh, go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I might have to talk to Nick. I might have to get a little PLL team, start competing.
Yeah. Like, you guys want to come to like Columbus or Detroit, man? Like, we're the only cities hosting handball in America right now. Like, well, just Joey, I guess. But yeah, I mean, we're having games when the governor of Michigan will let us, and we're doing what we can. So we're looking forward to, there's a new team on the block down in Kentucky that we're trying to get them some games. So, hey, people, there's a lot of mercenaries in handball. Like, people just fly in for tournaments because there's nobody cares. It's all weekend warrior stuff. So, like, if you guys wanted to put together an all-star squad and just wipe the floor with people, like, could be done.
Hold the phone. All right, Mark. You, Nick, any PLL player, if you guys put together a team, come play Detroit. If you guys beat us, we'll put some money on the table for you. How about that? Or we can just play for fun. I don't want to actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like, shucks. So I love that. How many people do I need?
You need 7.
12.
Minimum 7.
Minimum 7, max 16.
Okay.
Money on the table. Can't guarantee the amount.
I'll put money on this game. Gambling's legal. Oh, son of a gun! What a terrible time. We lost the time. Where's my intermission? I am not prepared. What a train wreck of a day. This is what we call a terrible Tuesday, folks. Terrible Team Handball Tuesday. I'd like to note some of Mark's pictures he shared with me here. Like, here's him playing against the Water Dogs. Very evident in this Water Dog stick that it's illegal. I don't know what the PLL rules are on illegal sticks, but when I look at that stick and I can see the whole ball like in his net, like that's a problem. So what I do like about the PLL is like the lack of pads, for everybody. I think that's a nice touch. I know, like, we always did that, just screwing around, like just elbow pads, because like, let me tell you, you get hit with a nice shaft to the elbow, that's gonna hurt. It is going to hurt. Also, like, gloves, 100% necessary. So definitely need gloves. Let's give everybody a minute here, see if we can get everybody back. There's Mark. Mark's back. Gotta get Joey back in the house. Mark, while we wait for Joey to get back on here, that was a terrible time for the thing to cut out. But one of the pictures you sent me, you guarding one of the Water Dogs. I'm looking at this, and what it's baffling to me is like this dude's stick in this picture is like 100% illegal. It looks like to me, like you can see the whole ball, and I'm like that should where's the ref for the let's get a check. Let's get a stick check over here.
Come on, man.
Yeah, he ain't losing that ball. So let's get back to the conversation at hand. Like, I'd put money on that game. Like, I'd pay for somebody's trip or hotel or whatever. Like, I think we could pull that off. You got any people in Michigan or Chicago or somewhere that's close by?
I don't, but shucks, I don't know. I just got to get some guys who are willing to travel. We'll come. I feel like if I got 10 guys, I don't know. I just feel like it'd be a dub.
I don't know about that. Man. Well, we'll have to. Only one way to find out.
Yeah, only one way. I'll pick you guys. If you fly in, Detroit's the easy airport to fly into. There's a lot of flights in and out of Detroit. I'll pick you guys up in the bus. I'll drive up there in the bus. We'll get you in the Hurricane, have a good time, and then we'll go play some games. That's what the Dublin Drunks team I play with. That's what they need. They need the Hurricane. So that's my parents' RV.
Mark.
So
if you guys lose, you guys all have to quit lacrosse and move to Detroit, play handball full time.
That's a big bet. That's a big bet.
That's right a huge bet.
Well, he's so confident. Let's hear it.
So like, where are tournaments usually?
Just whoever wants to host. Like, you could just host a tournament in Annapolis, and we'll just come to Annapolis. Like, it's like
okay.
If you build it, they will come. Like, it is 100% the handball of dreams. So.
Mark, so it's annoying, obviously, but I don't know. It's it needs to grow. There's a lot of room for growth, and so we're trying to get more of a season format as opposed to tournaments, and trying to shake things up a bit. But yeah, basically, like, Chicago usually hosts a tournament, New York usually hosts a tournament,
UNC. San
Francisco, but yeah, UNC, yeah, that's a big college one. So
there's a pretty
like in Europe, like how much do they get paid?
It varies. Honestly, I would compare it more to like most players are like, it's like a Division I college athlete. Like they might just have their expenses covered basically. in Germany, they make good money. Like the PSG and Barcelona teams, like those guys like are paid like well. But by and large, it's just interesting. Are you familiar with like soccer and like relegation and how that works in Europe?
I'm really not that familiar.
Dude, you're good. Again, you're in good company. It's all good. So basically, like if you're playing in the PLL, basically, no, we'll say the MLL because it's like more regional. So like, let's say I start the Annapolis Lacrosse Club, and we play in the 5th division of the U.S. lacrosse pyramid. And at the top is the MLL, and at the bottom is the PLL. But we'll just say, I know it's reversed. I know the PLL is better than the MLL, but we'll just say for argument's sake, right? And then below that would be like Division 1 lacrosse, and then Division 2, Division 3, Division 5. So if my club wins Division 5, then we move up to Division 4. And if we win Division 4, and so potentially you can have a very small town that just has a badass team that can play in the Champions League or whatever. And the same goes vice versa. So like if you like lose, if you're in the bottom of the table, at the end of the season, you go down a league, right? So I don't know where I was going with this precisely, but all this to say is basically a lot of towns have a club at some level. And so whether that club is like Division 3 and like the guys are competitive but not professional, or Division 2 where maybe, you know, they get some stuff covered but not really. It just varies wherever you go.
Okay.
I'd say, Mark,
yeah, that is
your
interesting.
question, like you could make anywhere from like at a decent level, like 20 grand with expenses paid, or like, you know, if you're at a really high level, you're in somewhere between the 75 to 125 a year range. But most guys are in like the 20 grand plus expenses or below that. But all your kind of top German league guys are getting paid pretty well. So there's, I mean, they get you. And the other thing is just like any other sport, you get a shoe contract, you get sponsored by, you know, somebody. That's where you're making some good money as well. And you look at some of the top guys, they're raking in some good bucks. That's for sure. So
now, what's the typical age? Like, when do people retire? Like, what's all that stuff?
So the interesting thing, like I was describing, like you can like play at this high level, like, you know, for a long time. So like the ages vary at the top level. There's like I don't know, JD Narcisse was like 45 when he retired. Like he was an old dude.
Narcisse
but like it's mostly
35.
He was old. Omier was 45
Omier,
or something.
Yeah,
like,
Omier was very old. But he's goalie. So goalies like they don't have the impact. So it's just like Matthias Anderson. He literally came out of retirement this season. Like he was the coach for the team, and they're like, "Hey, we need you to like sign a 1-game contract because our one goalie got hurt and the backup got hurt. So like you're the coach, so just jump on the court." And that's literally what he did, and he helped them win the game. Like it was pretty awesome story.
But like guys will play until they're like that age, but at like a 5th division team, which is still somewhat competitive, right? So it's like I'm not sure if that's a great answer, but you're how old? 28?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Best years is still in front of me.
Yeah, exactly, man. Exactly. Modern science, you're gonna live forever.
Handball guys are like a fine wine, you know, like you look at some of the top guys, they're like aging into the, you know, mid-30s and they're still like killing it. So you're like, huh, interesting. But the ideal player is still like 24 to 29, 24 to 30, somewhere in that range, I think is really the hot spot. But like Mishi, who we had on the show a few, I guess months ago now, she, one of her teammates was like 65 and she'd been playing in that club for like ever, her whole life, literally. And it's just, it just depends on how long you want to get into it and at what level, what you can choose how competitive you want to be. Like to Joey's point, like you get below that like 5th division, it's more like recreational, like it's more pride for your town, you know, like you're playing and you've probably never seen Green Street Hooligans, but it's a British soccer movie with Elijah Wood. It's like two of the worst like English soccer teams, and they just hate each other's guts. Like it's Michigan, Ohio State, it's Duke, UNC. Like literally the fans kill each other after the game, and like these fans will die over this soccer team, and the soccer team just both teams just suck, and that's the level that it's at. It's like it's just pride in your town. So I'm sure we'll get corrected on that, but that's how I see it. I mean,
yeah, that's exciting. Yeah, I mean, I'm like, I don't know, I love learning about something new. Like this, I'm so excited about handball. I'm trying to soak in everything.
Let's go. What more questions do you have? I'd love to help anyway.
See, like I feel like I don't even know enough to like know what to ask. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah, shucks. I'm just trying to get on the court and play someone. I need
get you out to
Detroit.
Detroit.
Who are you picking for your team?
Yeah, let's go through that roster.
Okay. I like that. Okay, so I'm gonna go. Okay, so me and Nick, we got that.
Okay. We already know Nick can get his ass kicked, so that's easy. It's good to know.
I'm gonna go with Romar Dennis. He's an Atlas guy. He's a big, tall guy.
Okay.
Oh man.
Don't forget you need a goalie. You're gonna need a goalie.
Yeah, who's
a
the goalie?
Okay. You know what? Oh man, I hope I don't upset anyone. You know, I'm leaving some names out.
This is the Shootin' Straight Handball podcast.
Yeah, we're
man.
just all business here.
Yeah, I would probably try to just go after really tall, kind of athletic guys. I'm drawing blanks right now.
It's the heat of the pressure. You're on the hot seat.
Right. I feel like I was so ready for this question, and then it gets asked. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go Scott Ratcliffe. He's definitely on my squad. He's an Archers guy. I'm gonna go Dominique Alexander.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm gonna add him. I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna do some like Archer heavy guys. I'm gonna go with Tom Schreiber. I feel like he could be, I feel like a nice quarterback out there.
He's a center back.
Yeah.
Sure. But really, he is. He's a facilitator.
I'm like, who is like long and lanky could be like a goalkeeper? Oh, who would be my goalie?
Even if you got cousins, it doesn't have to be PLL guys. Like you got other like UNC buddies or something like that. Like
Mitch Trubisky, did you play with that guy?
Yeah, I spent 2 years with Mitch. I spent 2 years.
He's not playing right now. I mean, I know Nick Foles got hurt, but he might be back. But might be worth reconnecting for this victory here. He could use a couple extra bucks.
You got to get my team off of my turn.
Please take Mitch Trubisky. Please. Please. We'll just make Arnett look like a Bears wide receiver, and he won't go anywhere near it. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you know what? This may sound biased, but I feel like handball is just so much more like transferable to lacrosse than football. I feel like a lot, like I'm not saying these guys aren't great athletes, but it's a kind of a different kind of athleticism. Playing football at UNC, I would say the biggest difference between the athletes were the size. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I feel like lacrosse, like catching the ball, hand-eye coordination, you have to, catch left and right. I feel, I would definitely stick to lacrosse guys.
Shooting is the biggest aspect, Mark. Shooting. That's what people don't understand is that football guys throw to a person, lacrosse players and hockey guys shoot to a place. So that's the biggest thing that I see, at least. And basketball guys just dribble all the time. So I'm sure get a lot of flack for that, but that's my stance on basketball guys.
So what's like an obscure